contain language of an adult nature. Listener discretion is advised.
Views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
We think it's the banning of
We
speech.
are anonymous. And if you don't know, you better ask somebody. My boy Maxwell Silverhammer and my bottom bitch jerk man will set you straight with some good old true shit and none of that shit that irks me. Hey Maxie baby, I still got them videos. You fill my cereal port perfectly. Bitch.
Oh, yes! Finally kicked those fuckers off the air.
It's about goddamn time. I got sick of those fucks.
Yeah, that GJ Jerkman and Maxwell Silverhammer with all their goddamn anti-corporate
You know what?
talk.
I'm just be happy. We're gonna go celebrate right now. I think we should go do some golf and butt fuck one another.
Oh, that's the greatest. I'm ready. Hold on. Go get in the car here.
Get the hell in the other side. Another side. There you go.
There we go.
All right.
Oh, this is a great day.
I'm gonna start it up now. You ready?
These bastards.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Bora Bora, here we go.
It's the STIM Radio Show.
Maxwell Silverhammer, GJ Jerkman, Cruise Control, and G Motor. Do you smell fire? I think somebody lit a cigarette. Nope, it's the hottest radio show on the internet. So keep it locked here from 7 to 9, cause the STIM Radio fam, they ahead of their time. And now it's lesson 1, man, this is lesson 2. No format because they keep it fresh and new. And this is what I call HQ. Hey, Winfrey, you a musical genius, man. They can't paint it like they said, but if the content is making you sick, taste some Dayquil. And if you think that the jocks sound quirky, allow me to introduce you to the shit that irks me.
Welcome to STIM Radio with your host, Maxwell Silverhammer, the guy that thinks he can jack himself to sightness. Here's your host, Maxwell Silverhammer.
Yes, bitches! Welcome to the shit that irks me. First Monday edition. Or I guess it's not a hump day edition, it's just the beginning of a week edition.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that yet.
Hell no. So anyway, as introduced, I am Maxwell Silverhammer. Oh, better turn her mic on.
There we are.
There you go. Where you?
I am AK.
AK, and we got, of course, behind the board.
That would be me.
That's GJ fucking Jerkman.
Yes.
And on the phone, we have Howard Casanova, author of the book Beyond AA. What's going on, Howard? Howard, you there? What happened to him?
It looks like Howard hung up.
We better call him back.
Let's do this again for him.
He must not have. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he must not have understood.
We'll talk for a little bit. So, AK, obviously, this is a very passionate topic for you. Mm-hmm. You know, the whole Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, you know, addiction, the treatment, and all that type of stuff.
Right.
So, and that's why I figured this would be a good show for you, too, because Howard was obviously in AA for quite a long time.
And I just want to make the distinction that I am not AA. I have no affiliation or ties to AA. I am NA.
NA.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what you do. You got his number over there, Jerkman? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Got it on redial right now, and it keeps hanging up.
Uh-oh. Wonder what's up.
You know what? We'll just reset the whole system and try it.
All right. We're going to have to reset him. Okay. So anyway, yeah, this it should be interesting because, you know, as you know, my opinion on this is pretty black and white. Mm-hmm. And, you know, because I've never gone through that. I've known some people with problems that have kind of sort of worked them out on their own, or they
it's impossible for you to understand the mind of an addict because you are not one.
Right.
So there is no explaining to you.
Not being there and see.
Right. There's not a way to change your mind or your opinion because you would have to be one of us.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. And obviously this is why I do this show, again, because I love learning. Mm-hmm. So like you said, maybe I won't be able to, you know, totally grasp it, but at least I can somewhat understand it. Right. You know, get my head around it a little bit and kind of say, okay, well, this is what it is. This is how it's
I
working.
don't think you'll ever understand why an addict can't do just one. I don't, you know, like for you in your mind, it's okay. Why can't you just put it down and stop? Yeah. That's something you'll never be able to understand because it just isn't something that happens for you.
That's one of them for sure. You know, that's a big one for me. Like, well, how come you can't just stop it? You know,
Right.
if it's causing trouble for you and it's no good, then why can't you quit?
Because we're addicted.
Right.
Yes.
And then also too, just the whole NAAA setup. You know, I guess from the people I've seen, you know, they've been in the program so many years, and I'm thinking, well, you know, are you getting cured? What's going on there? You know, and I guess that's kind of the.
Well, the and I'd love for Howard to get back on so we can talk about this and get his view. But in my opinion and in my program, no, you are never cured. The disease can be arrested, however, and recovery is then possible. But you're never cured. You're never going to lose the genetic trait of addiction. You'll always be an addict.
Right.
You're not ever going to be able to take that one, whatever it is that is your addiction, no matter how many years that you've been in the program. You see, but I don't know the differences. I don't know on AA. Maybe people in AA think they graduate and they can go for so many years and have a beer and they're fine. I don't know, but I know that in Narcotics Anonymous, there's not any way that I can do one drug and then just be like, okay, that was a cool weekend. I'm going to do that drug and I'm off and running.
You know what? He's calling my cell phone, Jerkman.
Yeah, we actually lost his number, wiped it clean, and I do not have it any longer.
Okay, you know what?
Well, let's just pause
You know what?
for a moment.
Talk for a second, okay?
We can take a break.
Take a break,
We'll
yeah.
come back.
Hey, Howard. We're trying to.
Hey, most people don't plan to fail, but a lot of people fail to plan, and it really don't have to be like that. What you know about an IRA or a tax-deferred 401k? What you gotta pay to the government? Ever heard of a tax-exempt retirement? That's info most folks don't know. What you gonna do if you live too long? What you gonna do if you die too soon? Can your spouse afford the house? Will your family go bankrupt if you get sick? You got a plan in place to cover medical debt? I'm not talking about Advil.
How does this work?
Speaking on long-term ill. You ever seen a bill from that home where Big Mama went to live? It's like $73,000 a year. How you gonna pay for that? How you gonna pay for that? How you gonna pay for that?
Hi, you've reached 651-756-8106.
Don't like it. You're looking at a retirement crisis. Got a good education, got a good job, got the age and the time, but still got robbed in 2008 when the market crashed. Wanna tell your boss to kiss your bus pass, but you can't cause you upside down and your savings on life support right now. Said you can't cause you upside down and your savings on life support right now. So you wake up in the morning and you put on your game face. Then you run out the house late, headed to the same place. On the bus like I'm stuck in your core like I'm stuck.
At last, the wait's finally over. Be Sick returns from a long hiatus with a brand new album entitled Mr. Zero Tolerance.
Available for digital download only.
Be Sick's no punches pulled approach on the mic gives listeners what they want, as well as gives the rap game a well-deserved kick in the ass, with such hard-hitting gems as the title track, Mr. Zero Tolerance.
Mr. Zero fucking tolerance, you fakes at your fun. My tongue's replacing the gun. My toleration is none. Fuck a buster and a bitch.
Or the laid-back, fun-filled street anthem entitled Change of Pace, featuring Ghost.
This is something to bump as a gift to the haters. So turn it up loud just to piss off your neighbors. And if you out rolling, you be getting a ticket. And if you
Straight to the guts, blind to the facts.
Blind to the facts that your mind's in a trap. Blind to the facts that with time we adapt. Blind to the facts of what you don't understand. Blind to the facts by the media scams. Blind to the facts of what you read in a book. Blind to the facts.
Download your copy today of Mr. Zero Tolerance from www.cdbaby.com or go to www.cdbaby.com/cd/bsick2. Download your copy today. Keep the realness in the rap game.
If you're a fan of hip-hop and R&B, join me, the Bruh Ren, for a full non-stop hour of back-to-back slappers. Back-to-back slappers. Where the playlist spans from genres like R&B, soul.
Okay, so we did. We dug. We found Howard Casanova, author of the book Beyond AA.
Howard.
Howard, are you there?
I am here.
All right. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, as we were talking, AK and I were talking a little bit while we were trying to get you back on, and this is actually a very passionate topic for AK. My first question for you, are you you said you went to AA originally for a marijuana addiction?
I did.
What? I'm just wondering, because AA is obviously for alcoholics. So what made you go to AA?
Well, at that place in time, in the Twin Cities here, where I live, in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, it was the only place to go, and I had a double entry into the program, and the first time was 1975, and I write about it in the book. I was doing a lot of dope, and I was what I call pot, selling used cars. I had been 12 years in the architecture field, and I was a little distraught, and so I smoked a lot of dope and sold a lot of cars, and I'd show up sometimes for work in not the greatest shape, and one of the coworkers, Steve, used to laugh at me a lot. We joked around, we had that male thing, that camaraderie thing going.
Right.
He talked me into going to my first meeting. He said, "You've got a problem. You act just like a junkie, and we got to get you to a meeting." And another issue I've had all my life, by this time I'm in my early 30s, is I've had an envy of people that have money, especially the things that it gets them.
Right.
The cars, the houses, all of it, the whole thing. He takes me to a meeting out in Lake Minnetonka. I call this chapter of my book AA in Beverly Hills, or Beverly Hills AA in Minnesota. And it was out in this Tony area, Lake Minnetonka, full of big houses on the lake, and all the rock stars come to town. They stay out there, and that's where I went to my first meeting, and the parking lot was full of Porsches and Maseratis, and man, I was in love. Sitting in the meeting listening to these people, and they're talking about how their life was just shit until they got to the program, and now everything is wonderful again, and I'm thinking, if that's all it takes, I'm in. I'll do it.
Right.
And I quit using and drinking and everything that night, and 3 years later I was tired of it. Went back to smoking pot. And then I really did kind of go into the toilet. My then wife left me. I couldn't get a job because I had dropped about 40 pounds. My health had gone to hell from the pot, and yet I'd smoke it morning, noon, and night. First thing I'd do when I'd wake up is fire up a doobie. And I ended up in treatment in the fall of '81 for that. I was down to I had lost over 30 pounds. And
Wow.
I wasn't feeling very well.
You lost weight on weed?
Oh, God, yeah, I know. See, isn't that weird?
That's very strange.
You lost weight? Yeah.
A lot of people have
that means
that
I was
misconception.
overdoing it.
Yeah, a lot of
What's
people
that,
have.
AJ?
A lot of people have that misconception that you're smoking weed, then you're going to gain weight. But what happens with addicts is that becomes our food, whatever our drug of choice is. So we don't eat. We're just in this case, I'm going to smoke pot morning, noon, and night, and that's all I'm going to fucking do. That's all I have time for. I don't have time to grab a burger. I don't have time to make dinner. I have time to smoke, and that's it.
Damn.
But my question is, after the 3 years that you said that you were tired of it, were you working the steps at that time, or were you just going to meetings?
Good question. I got involved, and I was working the steps, and I got on meeting boards, although I was still going kind of for the envy thing. I was going to clubs where people were doing well. I got a decent job out of the connections that I made there. I ended up being a job developer and placement officer for the city of St. Paul for one of the programs they had then. And things went great until my then wife asked me to leave because we were just fighting all the time, even though I was sober and going to meetings. And then the job, I knew the job was winding down and the market was really bad. And I just let go. I quit trying. I'm sure I would have come out better if I hadn't given up, but I gave up. And I think I masked my feelings of rejection and inadequacy by being stoned all the time.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So at that point, you dropped the program, right? You left AA at that point?
Yep.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then it was kind of a downward spiral. I lost the job. I lost the apartment that I'd been renting. I'd lost a woman that I had filled the gap with after my wife.
So your life had become unmanageable, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And anyway, I ended up homeless and living in a friend's basement.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're 36 years old. That's not the way you want to end up.
Oh, hell no.
Right.
And I had a little 2, almost 3-year-old son, and you know, my ex-wife is nagging at me to get over and see him more often, and she was justifiably so. I don't mean nagging. She had every right in the world to be angry with me.
Right.
And yeah, it just went to hell. And then I hooked up with an old AA pal. This is the story's in the book. He did the right thing. He reached out to me when I was hurting, and he helped me get into Twin Town treatment. I don't mean to advertise, but that's where I went in St. Paul. And after 30 days in there, I was in a halfway house in South Minneapolis. That wasn't such a nice experience. It was pretty run down. A lot of prison parolees that when they were just released from prison, they ended up at this place.
Right.
And some of these guys had a pretty rough attitude. It was a tough place to live. I washed dishes. My first job sober there was to be a dishwasher in a low-end restaurant on East Hennepin. And I worked my way up to busboy at a higher-end restaurant later on.
Wow.
So were you going to AA as part of then that halfway house? Was it kind of like that was the expectation was to go to the meetings in order to stay where you were at? So at this point, you weren't going by choice. You were going basically because if you didn't go, you wouldn't have anywhere to live.
Well, absolutely that plus. I've got a real strong sense of survival.
Most of us do.
I think we do when we're able to give ourselves credit for it. I really do. And my little boy meant everything to me, and I wasn't going to let him down. I wasn't going to do anything to damage myself that was going to reflect on him. So I went to meetings for me too. I wanted to get hooked back up again. I remembered what it was like to be connected with those guys, and feel like I was moving forward. And that's really all you can do in your life anyway. If you plateaued and you're not moving forward anymore, you better look around because you probably haven't noticed that you're backsliding. I just don't believe in standing still. I think we got to keep moving.
Complacency is a huge red light indicator in life and in recovery.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting just because, like I said, I've never been to the AA side. I've always been NA. I think that it has changed significantly over the years from when you first stepped in, because it kind of was really just kind of starting out at that time, and there were still a lot of things that were being worked out, and lack of a better word, didn't quite have our shit together, especially the NA program, because AA, I don't want to down AA. AA founded, helped us become who we are as Narcotics Anonymous. Without AA, we would not have NA. But I know for me, in the program of Narcotics Anonymous, it addresses more than just the use of drugs. It addresses the behaviors, the core nature of why we do what we do, and to apply those spiritual principles in every aspect of our life. Because I can be in a relapse mode, and I can be acting, I can have addict behaviors and not even use drugs. So it's important to recognize those signs.
So, Howard, did you? I know because you kind of talked about the negatives of AA a little bit, and where did you start seeing that? When was that coming?
Wow, that's the answer to that question is why I ended up writing this book. Because 30 years later, my wife at that time of 27 years. Walked in one day and announced that she was leaving me. And this was pretty much within a couple of day period, within 48 hours or so. I had also, my job, I'd been selling residential mortgages for the last 12 years, very successfully, doing well, and that market flatlined back starting in 2008, and it just got worse. This was up to 2010, and I wasn't working anymore. and another old friend visited me. I went into a real deep depression, and it was just hard to come out of. I did all the things I had done before. I did a lot of networking with Chamber of Commerce meetings and whatnot. I kept doing all of that, but I could not drum up any business.
Right.
And then she walks in and announces she's leaving, and oh, by the way, we don't have any money left in our 401k. I'm 65 years old. I don't have a career. I don't have any money left. And my wife of 27 years has left me. And I felt about as suicidal as I've ever felt in my life. I think everybody visits that place once in a minute, just once in a while, just to take a look at it. Gee, is it really that bad? No. And we walk away from it. But this time I sat with it for quite a while, for a day or two. And so to answer your question, when did I think AA was going bad? Well, by this time I wasn't going to meetings much anymore because I had returned to social drinking, which is another part of my story, which also belies the message that AA gives everybody, which is that you've all got a disease and you're all addicted. And the facts that I discovered when I researched my journal that became this book with people like head psychiatrists at Harvard Medical School and writers like Dr. Stanton Peele and many others that have done the hard numbers on the research on this thing say that what AA is preaching just isn't true.
Right.
And the downfall is that people that are hurting, that don't necessarily like what they're hearing at an AA meeting, they don't like being told they're an addict, which they shouldn't because they're probably not, have nowhere else to go now. And in fact, all of a sudden, by the fact that they went to to the AA 12-step meetings for help, and they end up walking out thinking that they're worse off than they were before they went in there. And I saw this happen over and over again. It was continual. And it's a vicious circle. AA is not what the founders of it intended it to be back in 1935.
Makes me very sad to hear that. Just because that's not my experience at all in the NA program.
I'm
so
sure.
Yeah, for you to have to go through that is to go into a meeting and walk out feeling worse about yourself than when you came in is just unacceptable. And I've met some people that are AA, and we clash because the ideals and the attitude is very different. I'm not going to lie about that. So it's just interesting to hear the other side.
Your perception.
Go for it.
Your perception, if you can, how are they different? The ideals.
I get a lot of an impression, and this could just be in my head because I'm an addict and I think it's all about me. But I get the impression that being an alcoholic makes me better than you because I'm not a dope fiend. I'm not a drug addict. So they have this very entitled, alcohol is my problem. I wasn't out smoking crack or doing meth or slamming heroin or whatever drug it is that people were addicted to. And there wasn't really a lot of love. See, like in the AA program, they don't hug. There's not a hug. You shake hands. In the NA program, we hug you when you come in. We hug you and we tell you welcome and have a seat, and we really bring you in, especially the newcomer. We really bring you in and we surround you with love, and we let you know that you're not alone and that you're not the only person who thinks this way. There is a way out. We are here for you. It isn't your fault, and you never have to use again if you don't want to.
That's right.
Well, too, and could it just be the city you're in?
It does vary by city, yes.
It might be if, not saying that St. Paul is totally backwoods, but I mean, it might be other places may be a little more progressive if you attended.
The thing about the program, if Howard would agree with me, is that the format is open. See, so the format is open to whomever is running that particular meeting. So it does vary by state and city. And so what happens in one format of a city in a group of a meeting isn't necessarily what you're going to experience if you go to another state or city. Because I have talked to people in the program who have also left feeling, attacked and berated and told that they're worthless and they're nothing and they're, defective of character and flawed, broken personalities and all of these things. And so it really does depend on where you go. You've got to find a home group that you're comfortable in, that makes you feel loved, not pushed aside. But back then, when Howard was going, there wasn't that many meetings, so that was the only option for him.
So it was the timing, really. Well, and would you ever go back? I guess is what I'm wondering.
Are you speaking to me?
Yeah, Howard. I was sorry about that. Would you ever go back to an AA meeting at any point, or are you pretty much done with them? Is that
based on what I know now? I could not go back.
Right.
I've like the old biblical saying, I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen what's up there. And what we were sold with Alcoholics Anonymous back in the 30s and 40s, it's a wonderful story. Do you remember the story of Elmer Gantry? It was a movie starring Burt Lancaster and Deborah Carr.
Yeah.
And she was a tent preacher back in the Great Depression. And she and her family kept together by going around from rural area to rural area. They'd put up they'd pitch their circus tent, and they'd put on a evangelical Bible meeting, and all the farmers and people in the area would come around and sing along with them, and they'd donate what they could to help keep the church open. And that's a lot of people got through the Depression that way, because there wasn't any jobs and there wasn't any welfare, and you did something or you starved.
Right.
Well, that's the era that Frank Buckman started the Oxford Groupers movement in. Only he had a better handle on the thing. He came from a family that had a pretty good amount of money, and they were absolutely connected to people like the Rockefellers and the Carnegies in New York. And he put on meetings. As you can imagine, these families probably had one or two children and maybe a couple of spouses here and there that drank too much and partied too much. And some of the rest of the family got tired of watching this individual making an ass of themselves or getting thrown in jail, and all of it, all the things that can happen from abusive behavior. And Frank Buckman jumped right into it, started a group at the Oxford Baptist Church in Manhattan, and they became the Oxford Groupers. And all of these scions and children of and spouses of these wealthy families were going there for recovery. And it got to be so notorious that the New York Times sent a reporter over there to see what was going on. And the story he wrote about the group, he called them Buckman's Millionaires, because that's basically what they were. That rolled out. They ended up out in Akron. Well, there's a good reason for that, because that's where the tire industry was based, and a lot of family money out in that area as well. And Buckman got a group going out in Akron. It attracted a good number of people. The Bill Wilson, Dr. Bob story, where they get together and create Alcoholics Anonymous, happened in Akron. And it happened in Akron because of what had happened because of Frank Buckman and the Buckman's Millionaires, which he called the Oxford Groupers. Of course, he never called it.
You know what, Howard, hang with us. We're rolling to a commercial break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, and we'll talk to you some more.
Hey, most people don't plan to fail, but a lot of people fail to plan, and it really don't have to be like that. What you know about an IRA or a tax-deferred 401k? What you gotta pay to the government? Ever heard of a tax-exempt retirement? That's info most folks don't know. What you gonna do if you live too long? What you gonna do if you die too soon? Can your spouse afford the house? Will your family go bankrupt if you get sick? You got a plan in place to cover medical debt? I'm not talking about Advil. I'm speaking on long-term ill. You ever seen a bill from that home where Big Mama went to live? It's like $73,000 a year. How you gonna pay for that? 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 You work hard every day, but you really don't like it. You're looking at a retirement crisis. Got a good education, got a good job, got the age and the time, but still got robbed in 2008 when the market crashed. Wanna tell your boss to kiss your bus pass, but you can't cause you upside down and your savings on life support right now. Said you can't cause you upside down and your savings on life support right now. So you wake up in the morning and you put on your game face. Then you run out the house late, headed to the same place. On the bus like I'm stuck in your core like I'm stuck. What you need is a solution, more income and less confusion. What you gonna do, where you gonna go, who you gonna talk to get the info and get money. You can talk to me, you can talk to me. We got what you need, or you can join the team. Build yourself, then build your wealth by sharing what you learn with somebody else. Each one, teach one how money works. Stay compliant so nobody gets hurt. Move like a union, be ambitious. We all independent, follow the system. Move like a union, be ambitious. We all independent, follow the system. Hey, this is Travis. This song was recorded to get your attention. I have some powerful financial information that you should hear. The things that you need to put in place for a solid financial foundation in case you live too long, die too soon, if you become disabled or need to go into a home, or if you simply need access to a tax-free supplemental retirement or emergency fund. We have the information to put these proper plans in place in case any of these things happen. Contact me at my email. That's TKEETONWFG@gmail.com. That's TKEETONWFG@gmail.com. Let's set up an appointment, sit down at the kitchen table or coffee shop somewhere. I'll show you the information. If you have the need and the means, let's get it done. Or if you're looking for a business with a great compensation plan and a proven system, you should join the team. I know this business isn't for everyone, but it's one of those rare situations where if we all follow the system, it can be a win for all involved. The companies win, the clients win, or the families win, the brokers win. We're entrepreneurs, we're our own bosses. Everyone is a broker. We can make good money and travel around the world on the company's dime. Let's at least try to do it.
If you're a fan of hip-hop and R&B, join me, the Bruh Ren, for a full non-stop hour of back-to-back slappers. Back-to-back slappers. Where the playlist spans from genres like R&B, soul. Hip-hop bangers like
25 sitting on 25 mil, I'm in the building and I'm feeling myself. Rest in peace, Mac Dre. I'ma do it for the pay, okay? Getting paid, we'll holler whenever that stop. My team good, we don't really need a mascot.
Classic throwbacks like.
Well, I'm peeping and I'm creeping and I'm creeping, but I damn near got caught cause my beeper kept beeping. Now it's time for me to make my impression felt. So sit back, relax, and strap on your seatbelt. You've never been on a ride like this before.
Every Friday night at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time and Saturday at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Only on the Tough Love Show on J&J.FM.
At last, the wait's finally over. Be Sick returns from a long hiatus with a brand new album entitled Mr. Zero Tolerance.
Available for digital download only.
Be Sick's no punches pulled approach on the mic gives listeners what they want, as well as gives the rap game a well-deserved kick in the ass, with such hard-hitting gems as the title track, Mr. Zero Tolerance.
Mr. Zero fucking tolerance, fakes at your fun. My tongue's replacing the gun. My toleration is none. Fuck a buster and a bitch.
Or the laid-back, fun-filled street anthem entitled Change of Pace, featuring Ghost.
This is something to bump as a gift to the haters, so turn it up loud just to piss off your neighbors. And if you out rolling, you be getting a ticket. And if you
straight to the guts, blind to the facts.
Blind to the facts that your mind's in a trap. Blind to the facts that with time we adapt. Blind to the facts of what you don't understand. Blind to the facts by the media scams. Blind to the facts of what you read in a book. Blind to the facts of
Download your copy today of Mr. Zero Tolerance from www.cdbaby.com or go to www.cdbaby.com/cd/bsick2. Download your copy today. Keep the realness in the rap game.
Yee! What up, though? It's the undeniable JT Money, a.k.a. the Bitchizer, and you tuned in to STIM Radio with Maxwell Silverhammer and GJ the Jerk Man. Heavy that. And guess what? They hate hoes almost as much as I do. So don't sleep on these cats. And speaking of sleeping, don't forget to check out my new single, Hustling, from my new project, Morning Wood. It's going down heavy, baby. And speaking of being out, I'm out like a busted traffic like you already know. Get him, Jay!
We think it's the banning of
We
speech.
are anonymous. And if you don't know, you better ask somebody. My boy Maxwell Silverhammer and my bottom bitch Jerk Man will set you straight with some good old true shit and none of that shit that irks me. Hey Maxie baby, I still got them videos. You fill my cereal port perfectly. Bitch.
Back to the STIM Radio Show, where the host doesn't know when to take a commercial and when not to. Maxwell Silverhammer.
I did not roll that commercial. You did. All right.
I had to explain to them, Howard, how you don't cut people off when they're in the middle of their story.
Right.
Well, you know,
it's not what we do in the program.
Jerkman's, hey, he's on the technical side of it.
Hey, wait a minute. Don't tell me this bull crap. You're the one that said we're taking commercials like regular.
Hey, man, well, you know, I thought it would be all right. But anyway, all right. So you actually, Howard, you were on this part, you were talking about in Akron, Ohio, the first concept of an Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yes. And this is really a brief story. I can sum it up quickly, and if anybody wants to check this out, please Google this.
Yeah, because we may have to go to commercial soon.
No, we're not.
Don't let them fuck with you.
All right. But I went into this a little bit because of AK's story, and saying that she didn't really understand the origins of Alcoholics Anonymous, and being an NA, I can understand that. But I just want you to know where AA came from. And it came from pretty humble beginnings, but not really.
Right.
And the stories in the big book, you know the big book?
Yeah, because ours is the basic text and yours is the big book.
Exactly. They talk about going out and getting drunks and getting them out of hospitals and out of jails, and all that happened. It did happen, but they don't talk about the people that had money that were already there. Not that they didn't deserve help also. I'm not even intimating that.
Right.
Everybody that's in trouble needs a chance to get help. But it became a real split between the Oxford groupers, Frank Buckman's crew, and Bill W. and Dr. Bob, and there was a lot of money on the table, and they had to get out because Buckman didn't want them around. They were conflicting. These were the new guys that were moving in on Buckman and his people's territory, and that's how AA came to be. They didn't want to start something new. They had to,
right?
And they had to go with what worked and was making money for them and helping people. So they wrote this book. 5 chapters of it, the big book, which was just called Alcoholics Anonymous. It became a big book later because they added stories to it that made it thicker. And they went out and started spreading the message, and man, they had the best marketing crew in the world. They had volunteers that were going out to the hospitals and the drunk tanks and bringing people in. And these people all had 2 things in common. One, they were problem drinkers. I'll just leave it there because whether they were alcoholic or not, kind of between them and their physician, and that's a pretty hard thing to define. And the second thing is they all had money. Some of them didn't have very much money, and all they had to put in the collection plate at the meetings was pocket change.
Right.
But you got enough people coming to the meeting often enough, putting enough pocket change in the plate, it starts to add up. And I don't think anybody ever understood, really got the concept of how much money they were collecting, but it was a lot.
Right.
Okay, well, fast forward up to the 70s, and I'm almost caught up to where we are, you and I and the other folks that have gone through this thing.
Mm-hmm.
The treatment centers started growing, and Bill Wilson, while he was alive, was absolutely connected to people that fund hospitals and medical businesses,
Mm-hmm.
and he helped the treatment center business get going, and the biggest thing he could offer them was free aftercare.
Mm.
What
They
is
would get
that?
The patient.
What exactly is free
Well,
aftercare, Howard?
Free aftercare is an AA meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and to AK's issue, it's an NA meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and to people that are in hospitals for eating disorders, it becomes an OA meeting, an
Right.
Overeaters Anonymous meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Those 12-step meetings became free aftercare, which was a huge profit item for the treatment centers.
Mm-hmm.
And I know because for years I went out and spoke every opportunity I had
Mhm.
at treatment centers. I
Right.
spoke at detoxes and I spoke at the jails, county
Mhm.
and state both.
Jails and institutions.
I sponsored people, and I never got a dime from any. Nobody ever offered me a penny for what I was doing. I
Right.
don't think I would have taken it if they had. But the simple fact is that AA has just been a huge free aftercare for the treatment industry. And I hate to say this, but from my point of view, and I'm not speaking to the NA side, I'm just saying from where I lived and the meetings that I went to, and I continue to go to at least 1 or 2 meetings a week every single week for 27 years,
Mm-hmm.
they became a false prophet.
Mm.
But the funny thing about false prophets is no matter where you find them, you don't see them unless you go looking for them. And you don't
Right.
go looking for them until you have a reason to go looking for them.
Mhm.
And if what you're doing, the program that you're following, whatever it is working for you and you're happy, why would you try to upset that apple cart?
Right.
You'd have no reason to.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just one of these curious, slightly hyperactive people. I've got ADD coming out of my ears, and that's
When were you
Well,
diagnosed with that,
it's
by the way?
difficult to be duly diagnosed because I'm duly diagnosed as well. I'm an addict and I'm also schizophrenic. So
Yep.
AA and
Attention
NA
deficit
doesn't they don't help with that. You know, it's not. You don't get to go to
Can
a
I-
meeting.
Can I,
Mhm.
can I interject a thought there to what you just said?
Sure.
Sure.
They are a great anecdote for attention deficit disorder people because it gives us a pattern to follow. It gives us
True.
a plan.
Right.
So
that's a huge thing for a lot of us. It sure was for me.
Right.
So there's the positive from the program, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Lots of them. Lots of positives.
Yeah, there are a lot of positives. And being fairly new, because I'm what they call a newcomer. I haven't been in the program for years and years. A little over a year. I also am one of those people that question, you know, like what's in the basic text and some of these traditions and these concepts and all of these things, and which is probably why relapse is a part of my story, because I like to find loopholes and you're a hypocrite and that type of thing, you know, what addicts do. But there are some things that I don't necessarily agree with when it comes to Narcotics Anonymous. So.
Yep.
Well, you know, and this is what's funny. I'm learning a lot from you guys because my idea is very black and white. You know, know some people that were addicts, but they kind of were able to fix themselves or were able to, you know, whatever, do what they had to do to cure without going to meetings or any of that type of stuff. So for the longest time, AK and I used to debate this shit all the time, you know.
Oh, I'm sure.
About, you know, because I was always like, well, these motherfuckers, you have a choice. You have you know, nobody's sticking a gun to your head and making you smoke that pipe or drink that alcohol or whatever. So it's interesting to get another perspective on all this. And it's obviously a little deeper than maybe even my comprehension. You know what I mean?
Could be. I'm sure it is because it's just so big. It's the recovery industry is a $5 billion with a B a year business.
Well, you know, that adds another piece to the puzzle because obviously it's like anything. You know, like cancer. Why don't they have a cure for cancer? Because they're making too much money with it, right? So
I fear you're right. I really do.
So that's kind of the same thing. Why give you something that's going to cure you when shit, we could make all kinds of money just, you know, giving you guys, placebos and things to push it under the rug. It's like heroin and methadone and things like that.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, what is the cure to addiction, though? I mean, what would be the cure other than keeping it in your mind? I have to replay my story. You see what I'm saying? Because I like to romanticize and really get into how much fun I had when I was high and popping those pills and feeling real relaxed. But I have to play the whole thing out when I couldn't pay my light bill and I overdosed 3 times and knocked my head on the fucking sink and ended up in the hospital. And the only thing that I wanted to do was get the fuck out of the hospital so I could pick up some more dope. See, I got to play the story the whole way through. Methadone, I don't agree with methadone. I don't agree with Suboxone. I think that it is designed to keep you addicted in the system. I quit cold turkey everything that I was doing.
Well, see, it's kind of like Howard was saying. It's a business. They're making money off this shit.
Methadone, I don't agree with methadone at all. I know that NA has no opinion on outside issues. That's my personal opinion.
What were you gonna say, Howard?
Right. We're breaking up quite a bit. I just wanted to mention that on your end.
Oh,
I'm getting a lot of breakup.
Oh wow. Okay, you sound great. We can hear you. So
I'm wonderful. Yeah, I lose, especially AK. I lose her mid sentence, and I sure don't mean to.
Well, yeah. No, you were gonna say something. By the way, what, or was that the thing about the breakup?
Me?
Yeah. You had said, by the way, you were gonna launch into something, but I couldn't. You were just talking about the.
Well, when I can relate to AK at this level. I went to meetings for a long time because I got payback. Mm-hmm. I got self-satisfaction. I had friendships. I had a network of people that I really cared about, and I was growing like crazy. My business life grew in Excel. I married a beautiful young woman, Maxwell. She was 14 years younger than me and just absolutely gorgeous. I was 37 years old and she was 23.
Oh wow!
And I was having way too much fun, my friend.
I bet you were.
I really was, and I think, and she was too for a long time. We stayed together for way longer than we probably should have. But for the first 12, 15 years, it was great. After that, it started to deteriorate. But the good parts were still so good that it was easy to overlook the bad that they were getting more often and worse. So it got to a point that the meetings weren't working anymore, and I stopped going. And my marriage was kind of crumbling and falling apart, and I still wasn't drinking. I didn't turn back to drugs or alcohol.
Right.
And after a period of time, I'd go back to going to meetings. I probably spent too much time with pornography on the internet. That can be a hell of a placebo for a lot of us men, especially.
Hell yeah.
And
our disease will manifest itself in ways that have nothing to do with drugs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when I finally went back to meetings, it was only to save my marriage and try to get my life back up to what it used to be. And that would always work for a little while, but eventually it would crumble and fall apart, but never because I was drinking or abusing drugs. I just got tired of AA. Here's AA's plus point for me. It is a good thing for somebody that's brand new to recovery, and it gives them some steps to follow and a guide to live by, and that part's good. I've got another whole issue with the spiritual side of it, but that actually kept me in the program for a long time, but my eyes have been open to something that's going on there as well since those days. What AA is bad at is it doesn't let people graduate. It does not even get them ready for graduation. For God's sake, if you went to Overeaters, if you went to Weight Watchers and you got down to your target weight, are they going to keep treating you like you just came in and you need to lose 30 pounds or 100 pounds? Hell no, they're going to give you a plan to live by, aren't they?
Yeah, you think.
Well, AA doesn't. AA just says you're an addict, you'll always be an addict, and if you take the first drink, you're doomed. End of story.
And see, that's kind of always been my thing with it, because I saw people that would tell me, I've been in it since 1984 or something, and you're going, well, shit, it's 2015, bro. How come you're not, clean yet? What's going on?
I think that my debate with NA would be this. It does say that in order to recover, we must abstain from all drugs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alcohol, and this is in the NA literature. Alcohol is a drug. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where I become a little conflicted is that I and all the old timers are going to laugh if they were to hear this, but I don't have a problem with alcohol. So I could have a beer or two with my friends at the bar and then go back to my job. But I couldn't pop an Oxycontin or do heroin and then be fine. You see, I have a problem with one drug. It's opiates. I'm not going to run off and do meth. I'm not going to go smoke some crack. I'm not going to go on and become an alcoholic or any of these things, you know. And so that's where I'm struggling with the program, because it does tell you that it's you must abstain from all drugs in order to recover. Alcohol is a drug, period. No mood or mind altering substances in order to live a new way of life. And what they tell me those are reservations, and that those are just excuses that are going to get me high. I don't know. I battle with that. If I have,
I hear you.
Yeah, if I have a couple of glasses of wine, is that really what led me back into my opiate relapse? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't think so. I think I picked up opiates again because simply I wanted to fucking get high.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, conscious decision, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so too. You and I are absolutely on the same page there. My glass of Cabernet Sauvignon or a red blend, some sort of a red wine in the evening, and I frequently follow it with a second one, but almost never do I have a third.
Right.
The secret to drinking wine, AK, is always have a fresh glass of ice water along with it.
Right.
That way, when the wine's empty, you go to the ice water.
You know, I just I'm not at this moment. I am abstaining from all drugs, including alcohol, because I am fairly new and I have relapsed, and I don't want to go back there. And so I'm living the program to the best of my ability, and that's not, using drugs or alcohol. Will I get to a point where I feel like I'm going to get, to this point in my life where I don't think that I'll want to pick up drugs again? I do believe that. I do believe I'm going to lose the obsession to use drugs. But I will continue to go to the program to help the newcomer. Because if I can save just that one addict who doesn't know how to stop, if I can give to them something, then I will keep going. If I can save even just one.
Okay. I went for a long time on that same motive. I really did.
Right.
I sponsored dozens of guys, literally. Yeah. Some of them I kept for a couple of years, or some of them have been friends for 30 years.
Yeah.
But most of them went back to their life. They stopped going to meetings.
Yeah.
They didn't get in trouble. They didn't get rearrested for DUI, which is what brought most of them in.
Right.
And I run into them here and there on the street, and I ask them how they're doing, and they tell me they're doing fine, and they look like they're doing fine, and I have no reason to not believe them.
Yeah, and that's great.
So really, I mean, it's not about, you tried, basically, but I guess you figure it's kind of on the person too.
Well, yeah, you're always going to have, I guess, Howard would agree that you're going to have sponsees that relapse. That's just, inevitable. It's going to happen. But to walk down the street some years later and see somebody that you sponsored and you ask them how they're doing and they say, great, that's got to be awesome, because you took some sort of place in their life that helped them to get there. Maybe they're not going to meetings anymore, but they're not, you helped them. They're not doing the shit that they were doing when you were sponsoring them. And I think that's beautiful. And that's the part of the program that touches me.
Well, yes. And you might ask, if you haven't thought of it yet, but I'll help you out. What am I doing now since I'm not going to meetings? And I haven't been going to meetings. Actually, when my wife left me and I lost my career and I found out I was broke and I was 65 years old, I started going to meetups.
Okay.
MEETUP meetups. And they've got meetups for everything under the sun. I'm giving them a free shout out here because they don't make any money. I suppose the local chair people of it do, but they don't make a lot of money.
Right.
But for most of us, it's just a great place to get together and meet people that have a shared interest. And I've gone on hikes with them. I've gone sailing with them. My favorite thing, and Mary Jo and I have become really passionate about swing dancing for the last couple of years. And I go to at least 2 meetup things. Oh, and every Monday night, I'm giving up my card night for this tonight, Maxwell, and I wouldn't have missed this for anything. It's the only thing I would have given my card night.
You told me you were going to go play a little cards and then come do the interview, so I guess that didn't happen, huh?
When I found out my phone situation was screwed up, I didn't dare leave.
Right.
Oh, shit.
Well, I did not want to miss this. I had such a great time with you when I was on years ago, and I've been looking forward to this for a week.
Oh, man, me too.
Me too. I was really excited when I heard
I'm so
you were
glad
coming
you're here,
on.
AK. He told me about you, and I thought, great, I hope she can make it.
And she could, so it worked out.
Yep.
Well, so basically you can drink a little bit of alcohol and not completely lose it with it, is what you're saying now.
Yeah, if you can give me another 2 minutes, I can give you a quick synopsis of how that happened, and it kind of circulates around what AK has been speaking of. In the last years, and as you get older, I think at any point in your life it can start happening. You start having surgeries. You need an operation. I had plantar fasciitis on my foot. I had a knuckle that blow out on my thumb knuckle, the one that's right up against the wrist, blew out on my hand.
Oh, shit.
I've had root canals. Anybody that's been through those, that's not minor.
Fuck yeah. Oh, no, I've had one of those, and that's all I need.
Well, the good side of that, Maxwell, then shout out to all the dentists out there. They're really worth having because they save you just a lifetime of pain. But
oh, yeah.
I had a nasoplasty where they had to straighten out my nose and open my sinuses up, and my nose was, filled with filler and wrapped up for a week. And what I got out of every one of these, AK knows what I got. I got Percocet and Darvon and all the good stuff. And I took it.
Right.
But a strange thing, and I enjoyed the buzz that I got every time I took one of those pills because at this point,
your body
I was still
doesn't know the
abstaining. I wasn't
difference.
drinking. But when I'd wake up in the morning and the tooth felt better or the foot didn't hurt anymore and the hand was healing, as the day went on, I took less and less pills until I didn't think about it anymore. I just didn't go to the medicine cabinet. I didn't need them. I didn't go looking for them.
And that's where I'm trying to get. Because I can't. I'm
I went
not
into
there.
the medicine cabinet one day looking for something else, and I found all these little pills that had worked their way to the back of this thing. I was using a kitchen cabinet, kind of a deep one for where you put your plates and such.
Right.
And I had at least 4 or 5, maybe 6 bottles of these prescription drugs sitting back there in in various quantities.
Wow.
And I hadn't touched them for weeks and sometimes months. And I didn't particularly want to go there because I also remembered what the hangover from those was like after you've been taking them for a while. And wow, and I had a long talk with myself right about then about whether I really was addicted, because I'd come across some material about this moderation management organization, and I've done a lot of research on them, and I admire a lot of what they're doing, and some basic core principles of them just don't apply to me.
Right.
I'm not saying they aren't great for a lot of people. They seem to be, but it wasn't a program I was going to replace AA with. But they showed me a concept that was working for a lot of people that I kind of felt could work for me, and that was a beer or wine diet is what I ended up calling it. It's the last page of my book, Maxwell. The beer and wine diet. It's either or, whatever. I don't do the hard stuff, gin, whiskey, and
rum
and so on.
Right.
It's too intense for me. And I have usually 1 or 2, like I said earlier, 1 or 2 glasses of wine, maybe 2 or 3 beers, and that's my limit.
Right.
And I don't overdo it. I did have 3 pretty stout glasses of wine some time ago, and I started to get a nasty head from it. It reminded me of the hangovers that I used to get, because I did binge drink in my youth. I think everybody does.
Oh, yeah.
And I had the hangovers, and I just said the hell with it. I don't need to do that. So I've been on this diet for a long time.
Well, it's obviously... And, most people I know, have a glass of wine or 2 a day. That's kind of their thing. So, obviously because you hear so much, with alcoholics, alcoholics, drug addicts, whatever. Oh, just one's going to, send me back, and one's going to, start the engine for something bad.
Well, the thing is, for me, there's not any way in hell that at this point in my life that I would have 4 or 5 bottles of prescription drugs in my medicine cabinet that I haven't touched. They would be fucking gone, all of them. I just can't.
But
I can laugh at it too. I cannot.
Completely get it.
I will take one Percocet and I am off and running. But I can have, and this is just my opinion, but I can have a glass of wine and my life will be fine.
I guess it just depends.
But I can't take any pills. Trust me on that one. I cannot take just one.
Well, I guess it depends on your drug of choice.
I agree with you, AK. I support you 110%, and stick with what you got.
Right.
I'll tell you something. I mean, I got lots of things I could tell you. My problem tonight is restraining myself, but some people can't drink like that, Maxwell.
Yeah.
They cannot take the first drink.
Yeah.
I still run into my old AA mates that I've known for the longest time that are still going to meetings, and they know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And they shake their heads and they say, I really admire you, but I couldn't do it.
Right.
And
Yep.
A man's got to know his limitations. Clint Eastwood, God bless you.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite axioms, right?
Yeah.
Man's got to know his limitations.
But that is,
or women.
Yeah, what Howard said is some people can't have one drink. They just I can't have one pill.
So it's the makeup of the person. I mean, I got a family member who used to drink very heavily. Now he can go around and hang out with people that are drinking and not want to touch it at all.
Well, I can hang out with.
I've known people like that.
Yeah. You get to a point in that in your life, but I don't know.
It's pretty amazing. I think it's pretty cool.
I think it was pretty awesome.
To
have Howard here and hear your story, and it was just great.
Let's get some info on this book, man. Where can people get it?
I would love to get your book.
Amazon.
Okay.
Or Barnes and Noble online.
Okay.
Okay. And it's called Beyond AA, correct?
Right.
Okay.
And Amazon has a Kindle of it, so for people that do that, it's just a few bucks for that.
Cool. Let me ask you, for us blind guys, any audio versions of this book coming out, possibly?
Yes, and thank you for bringing it up because you've remotivated me to get going on that. I would love to have an audio book. I'd love to read it. I've got a good voice. I'm actually looking at getting into some. I'm looking at Brown Institute up here in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And for broadcast.
Right.
And I don't care if I'm 70 years old. Who gives a shit?
Go for it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Go for it, man.
And I'm use my GI Bill because I am a Navy veteran.
Nice.
And take some classes at Brown and see if I can pick up some voice work here and there. But the audio book will be coming out. I can't give you a date, but I'll tell you what, as soon as I know, I'll call you.
That's awesome.
And I don't think you even need broadcast training for that. I think you could just get some studio time and go in there and just narrate your book.
Yeah.
I mean, you wrote it, you know what you want it to sound like. So, I mean, you're the only person that's going to critique it.
Yeah.
So,
True.
So Beyond AA, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, any of those major bookstores. Is it
in Amazon?
In Amazon, yep. And it's hardback and downloadable, correct?
Exactly.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, I can't wait to read it.
It's just a real decent quality paperback. It's a 6x9, and it's a nice cover, and it's $10. So I think it's money well spent.
I can't wait. Yeah. I want to read it. I really do.
Good deal. I would like to read it.
So I want to hear your story.
Oh, great! That's great to hear, and I get positive feedback like this. Just keeps me motivated. But I really believe in what I put down on paper here, and I had contact with so many people that really did lose everything through their addiction, and it was usually multiple. It wasn't just one or the other. They were usually doing everything by the time they spun out of control.
Right.
And I was privileged to be with a couple of them that came down with serious medical ailments while they were sober, and they stayed sober as far as anybody knew.
Yeah.
And I got to sponsor one guy, DJ. If anybody, any of my mates in the Twin Cities or on the east side of St. Paul are listening, they'll know who I mean. DJ was was a loser of the first order, and he got it together and became a dad to his kids again, and then he came down with a nasty cancer, I believe.
Oh wow!
Awful. I mean, that's one of the things, though. I mean, I was a hope to die addict, man. Nobody had faith in me. I was always going to be an addict. I was always going to pop pills, and I was always going to snort heroin, and I was always this and always that, and I was, constantly in and out. I would get 20 days, I'd go out. I'd get 30 days, I'd go out. I'd get 60, I'd go out, and then you see the miracle happen, and that brings that up, because what we constantly say in our program anyway is that we don't use no matter what. And so to have and having cancer is a huge no matter what. Okay, so to be sober through that is a huge no matter what. That's awesome.
That's just the whole story. I mean, it's just listening to it, it's very motivational for anybody, I think.
Thank you.
So
thank you, and AK, I admire you so much.
Thank you.
For me, drinking is a privilege,
right.
And by the way, the dark days that I didn't commit suicide at 3.5 years ago, the wall that I finally hit there that made me say, no, you can't do this, is I got 3 little grandsons, and 2 of the 3 were little boys yet.
Right.
And I wouldn't do that to them, because I've seen what suicides do to families, and I was not going to visit that on my grandchildren.
I have been there with you.
So, and so that made me just turn around and get back to work, and I bought a little minivan and actually went out and did contract delivery work for a year, the first year, because there weren't any jobs.
Yeah.
Sorry, is this like the guys that deliver the phone books?
Yep.
Oh wow.
Tires. Anything you get delivered, it's an independent delivery contractor usually, especially if he's with Priority or Courier Express or one of those guys. That's who I was with.
But he got up and he did it.
Oh, I know. I think it's cool.
That's awesome.
I don't mean to laugh. I just remember when my brother was doing that.
Oh no, it is funny. I got some great laugh stories there, but my shoulders finally gave out. I couldn't. My shoulders couldn't put up with all that lifting and pulling all the time, so I had to get it. I got an inside sales job with a guy I knew from networking and worked with him for quite a while, and then my mother died, and she left me a little money, God bless her, sweetheart, and not enough to retire on, but enough to give me a breather here. And I got to finish the book.
Nice.
And, I met this beautiful lady 2 years ago at the meetups, and we're engaged now. And she's
awesome.
Only 2 years younger than me, not 14 years.
Now, wait, is she been in the programs as well? Because you said she was at the meetups.
Nope.
Oh, no.
She's a normie.
Just
meetups.
Just straight up meetups where, like, let's hang out and let's go hiking. Oh, okay.
We call them normies. I don't know what you guys call them, but we call them normies.
Yes, we do. She's a normie.
She's a normie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome.
She's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's inspirational.
She's a hell of a dancer.
Because I want to write a book myself, and I've been that road where I was right on that verge of committed suicide. I have 2 young boys, and I had in one hand God knows how many fucking pills, and and in the other hand this idea of what would happen to my kids. And my mom, she committed suicide, so I knew damn well what that would do. And so I took the pills and I flushed them all down the toilet, and I just said, I'm fucking done. I'm done.
Oh yeah.
So that's where I've been at ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
You sound fine. You sound like a winner. I just can't see you doing anything but succeeding. How old are your children?
They're 7 and 10.
Oh my God, they will never be at an age in their lives where they need you more than they do now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Didn't you say you had a daughter too?
I do. She's 13.
Okay, so you got a daughter too.
We're estranged, but we're getting there.
AK, you got all the incentive you need.
Yeah.
And there's meetups out there for families. You can places to go and bring your kids along, and people will have picnics and parties and hikes and. That's
just
meetups is a great outlet for
fun stuff without the use of drugs.
Yeah.
Well,
learning how to live without. Yeah.
Oh, really?
A lot of single moms come to the meetup card games that I would, and they play cards. Meetups play cards every night of the week.
I love cards.
So you can kind of pick and choose.
Cool.
And you can just go out and be with other adults.
I just I know there's specific kinds of meetup groups, and that's why I was wondering: is it just an addict meetup group, or is it everybody? But
well, he wouldn't have met his fiance if it was an addict meetup
right.
group.
Well, that's why you guys clarified that for me, so that's why I wanted to see. But
it's not about Maxwell. It's not about recovery at all.
Right. It's just meeting up with people
Meetup
and having a good time.
Strictly social. It has nothing to do with anything but the activities people are doing.
Yeah. It's just hanging out, having fun.
That's
right.
Cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Maybe I should get into some of those
somebody
myself.
to golf with, somebody to play tennis with, somebody to play cards with, dance with. Yeah.
Those all sound fun.
Yeah, and they're wonderful, and I love them. They've saved a lot of lonely people that were in a divorce or the death of a spouse.
Right.
New in town, your job sent you out to East Armpit, and you don't know anybody.
Right.
You can go to meetups.
Those are cool. I never heard of them. I'm going to try it out.
They're a lifesaver.
I'm going to try it out.
I may try it out too.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have something for people with sighted, non-sighted people. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure that there's something, but you know what? I want to mingle with everybody, man. I don't want to just limit myself to other blind people. I want to, mingle with everyone.
Great point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Great point.
So, because I wouldn't be doing this show if I didn't mingle with everybody.
I want to meet up. I like cards. I like poker. That's my thing. I love playing poker. Yeah.
Right. Watch out with the gambling rush there. That can be a temptation
I've
for
heard.
you.
You know what?
That can be a real kick.
We got a Gamblers Anonymous out this way, man.
There's GA everywhere. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. There is. Yeah. But
I'll be careful.
You can go play 500 hearts or spades or lots of games.
Yeah. I like to play without the money, just poker with no money. But it's still a gambling. It's still the rush of winning. It's still the instant gratification of me as being an addict. I want it right now. I want it right now.
Man.
AA and NA filled a gap. Like any new thing does, they filled a gap. Those casinos out there are filling a gap. There's something for people to do that didn't exist before they came along.
Yeah.
And now there's healthy things to get together with one another at. And it used to be churches would do that, but a lot of us have just gone away from churches for our own reasons.
Yeah.
Well,
and but I still miss the people.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and you're just finding a healthy group to mingle with and be with is the main thing. Yeah. Well, Howard, this has been a blast.
Sure has.
And again, it's Beyond AA. You can get it on Amazon.com or on BarnesandNoble.com. Written by Howard Casanova. And Howard, do you have anything to say before we go?
Yes, I'm going to be getting together with you in the near future. I have come up with a contraption invention that I'm copywriting, and it's called, I can't even tell you what it's called, but it has to do with sexual urgency in men that are over 50 for sure, especially if you're at the age where you need Viagra and Viagra doesn't work.
Well,
and I'm going to have a solution to that in the near future, and I'll get it as soon as I got the thing on the table. I will, so to speak. I'll get in touch with you.
Well, I'm almost 40, so I don't know if I'll need it quite yet. But hey, man,
you look pretty young in your picture.
Yeah, I'll be 40 this September. So, but hey, man, I'm always open to check out new things and see what's happening, and if it can help somebody, I'd love it. So, well, good.
Mary Jo just came in here. Mary Jo just came in here, waving her arms at me like, "Are you going to stop?"
Come on. I wonder if you've tried this device on her. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Oh,
it's fantastic.
So it's proven.
I can't wait to share it with the rest of the world.
Oh man, it's proven. Well,
we'll wait for that.
When you get it patented and you get it out there, let us know because we'd be interested.
I'm on it, and we'll be in touch.
We will.
So anyway, my last word is take care of yourself.
You too, man.
If you've got, I really want to say this. If you've got concerns about whatever anonymous meeting, whatever step meeting you're going to, do some research.
Yeah.
Go on Google. It's really easy. Find out what's wrong with NA. I went in there and said, what's wrong with AA? And then I actually got to pick and choose from some pretty solid people with backgrounds like the Journal of American Medical Association, Harvard Medical School, and on and on and on. There's a lot of really credible sources out there. You can read about it, and find out what is really going on.
All right.
Good stuff.
And I would encourage everybody to look into that, because AA doesn't have to be a one death sentence to replace another death sentence.
Right.
I really believe it should be a stepping stone to having a happy life, because otherwise, what's the point?
Exactly. Well, Howard, don't be a stranger. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very, very much, Maxwell. And AK, you were a dream.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
We'll be right back,
Bye.
bitches.
Hey, most people don't plan to fail, but a lot of people fail to plan, and it really don't have to be like that. What you know about an IRA or a tax-deferred 401k? What you gotta pay to the government? Ever heard of a tax-exempt retirement? That's info most folks don't know. What you gonna do if you live too long? What you gonna do if you die too soon? Can your spouse afford the house? Will your family go bankrupt if you get sick? You got a plan in place to cover medical debt? I'm not talking about Advil, I'm speaking on long-term ill. You ever seen a bill from that home where Big Mama went to live? It's like $73,000 a year. How you gonna pay for that? 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 You work hard every day, but you really don't like it. You're looking at a retirement crisis. Got a good education, got a good job, got the age and the time, but still got robbed in 2008 when the market crashed. Wanna tell your boss to kiss your bus pass, but you can't, cause you upside down and your savings on life support right now. Said you can't cause you upside down and your savings on life support right now. So you wake up in the morning and you put on your game face. Then you run out the house late, headed to the same place. On the bus like I'm stuck in your car like I'm stuck. What you need is a solution, more income and less confusion. What you gonna do, where you gonna go, who you gonna talk to get the info and get money? You can talk to me, you can talk to me, we got what you need to get money. You can join the team. Build yourself, then build your wealth by sharing what you learn with somebody else. Each one, teach one how money works. Stay compliant so nobody gets hurt. Move like a union, be ambitious. We all independent, follow the system. Move like a union, be ambitious. We all independent, follow the system. Hey, this is Travis. This song was recorded to get your attention. I have some powerful financial information that you should hear. The things that you need to put in place for a solid financial foundation in case you live too long, die too soon, if you become disabled or need to go into a home, or if you simply need access to a tax-free supplemental retirement or emergency fund. We have the information to put these proper plans in place in case any of these things happen. Contact me at my email. That's TKEETONWFG@gmail.com. That's TKEETONWFG@gmail.com. Let's set up an appointment, sit down at the kitchen table or coffee shop somewhere. I'll show you the information. If you have the need and the means, let's get it done. Or if you're looking for a business with a great compensation plan and a proven system, you should join the team. I know this business isn't for everyone, but it's one of those rare situations where if we all follow the system, it can be a win for all involved. The companies win, the clients win, or the families win, the brokers win. We're entrepreneurs, we're our own bosses. Everyone is a broker. We can make good money and travel around the world on the company's dime. Let's at least try to do it.
If you're a fan of hip-hop and R&B, join me, the Bruh Ren, for a full non-stop hour of back-to-back slappers. Back-to-back slappers. Where the playlist spans from genres like R&B, soul. bangers like, hip-hop bangers like.
25 sitting on 25 mil, I'm in the building and I'm feeling myself. Rest in peace, Mac Dre. I'ma do it for the bay, okay? Getting paid, we'll holler whenever that stop. My team good, we don't really need a mascot.
Classic throwbacks like.
Well, I'm peeping and I'm creeping and I'm creeping. But I damn near got caught, cause my beeper kept beeping. Now it's time for me to make my impression felt. So sit back, relax, and strap on your seatbelt. You've never been on a ride like this before.
Every Friday night at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And Saturday at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Only on the Tough Love Show on JNJ.FM.
At last, the wait's finally over. B-Sick returns from a long hiatus with a brand new album entitled Mr. Zero Tolerance.
Available for digital download only.
B-Sick's no punches pulled approach on the mic gives listeners what they want, as well as gives the rap game a well-deserved kick in the ass, with such hard-hitting gems as the title track, Mr. Zero Tolerance.
Mr. Zero fucking tolerance, fakes at your front. My tongue's replacing the gun. My toleration is none. Fuck a buster and a bitch.
Or the laid-back, fun-filled street anthem entitled Change of Pace, featuring Ghost.
This is something to bump as a gift to the haters. So turn it up loud just to piss off your neighbors. And if you out rolling, you be getting a ticket. And if you
Straight to the guts, blind to the facts.
Blind to the facts that your mind's in a trap. Blind to the facts that with time we adapt. Blind to the facts of what you don't understand. Blind to the facts by the media scams. Blind to the facts of what you read in a book. Blind to the facts of
Download your copy today of Mr. Zero Tolerance from www.cdbaby.com or go to www.cdbaby.com/cd/bsick2. Download your copy today. Keep the realness in the rap game.
Yee! What up, though? It's the undeniable JT Money, a.k.a. the Bitchizer, and you tuned in to STIM Radio with Maxwell Silverhammer and GJ the Jerk Man. Heavy that. And guess what? They hate hoes almost as much as I do. So don't sleep on these cats. And speaking of sleeping, don't forget to check out my new single, Hustling, from my new project, Morning Wood. It's going down heavy, baby. And speaking of being out, I'm out like a busted traffic like you already know. Get him, Jay!
We think it's the banning of
We
speech.
are anonymous. And if you don't know, you better ask somebody. My boy Maxwell Silverhammer and my bottom bitch Jerk Man will set you straight with some good old true shit and none of that shit that irks me. Hey Maxie baby, I still got them videos. You fill my cereal port perfectly. Bitch.
Welcome back to the STIM Radio Show. He not only shaves his head, but he shaves his balls just for personality.
Actually, that's true. I did just shave my balls last night. I'm finding I'm doing it a lot more now.
Shaving your balls?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm afraid, like thinking, oh, well, what if I run into a chick and we wind up having sex and, you know.
So you're contemplating having sex, so you're preparing by freshly shaven nuts.
Yeah, well, I want to keep it clean, you know. Make sure they got a clean spot down there, you know.
I understand that.
So, but again, shout out to Howard Casanova, author of the book Beyond A.A. for coming on with us for the last.
And AK for stepping in and
absolutely.
doing such a great job.
That was awesome. She totally rocked that.
Yeah, she did.
And they clicked, and it was great. So
great interview.
Yeah, I want to do more of those, man.
I was impressed with that. That was totally cool.
I mean, the rapper stuff is fine and fun sometimes, but it's like.
But breaking it up with that, I mean, that was some intelligent talk right there.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I like.
Yeah.
I'd prefer to have some intellectual shit going back and forth here.
Well, you hear what I'm saying, dog? You know what Now, you have had great interviews that have been rappers.
Sure.
But then you've had the ones that you're just like, wow, I don't know if I can sit here any longer.
Oh, no, believe me, I've had some of those too. Well, that's why that was my thing with the commercial, because I figure, okay, that breaks it up a little bit.
Right.
Because even with the rappers, you know, especially the really bad interviews, you know, if I can play music, I'm like, all right, that gives me a little reprieve. It cuts the hour short, you know. So,
right.
But in this case, I mean, he was saying some great stuff. So,
but I did send you that one friend rapper thing. I don't know if he got a hold of it yet.
Yeah, I did. We actually spoke on the weekend.
Cool.
He's coming out here on the 10th.
Oh, wow.
And he's going to come in and do an interview.
Well, that is cool.
So he will be here. And, he sent me some tracks yesterday. We've been talking
So what do you think? Some new tracks? You heard them?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I got to say, I have not opened them yet.
Oh, cool.
But, the ones that we heard on the show were decent. And, it sounds like he's a down-to-earth dude. He's in California, so he's going to come out here and do his thing. So that should be fun. That'll be cool. On the 10th. So anyway, I have a story for you. You know how you're always giving me shit about the Facebook groups?
Yes.
Well, this time,
here we go.
This was not my fault. This was some shit.
Wait a minute. So you can finally say one time wasn't yours? You didn't get in started?
The other times was me, getting into
Cocking off and doing your thing.
Right, with, different personalities and shit like that. In this case, I told you I'm in that Society for Barefoot Living group.
Yes.
And, I was kind of pondering your question that you had asked me one day. And you said, what if you meet a barefooter, a chick who's a barefooter,
right?
But then she finds out you like feet and flips the fuck out,
right?
So I said,
which was
very
plausible.
Yeah, very plausible. That's why I said, you know what? That might be, let's go see where these women's heads are at.
Right.
How would they react to something like that? So without saying too much, I just basically said, let's go there. Now, I said, how do you all feel about somebody with a foot fetish? And I said, personally, if a chick found my feet hot, or if a chick was into my feet, I would find it pretty hot, actually.
Right.
But what's your guys' opinion?
So you prefaced it like that, so it would look like it really wasn't coming out and...
Right, like me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
That's a smart way to do it.
Because I do like feet. I'll be honest. Obviously there's no secret to that.
And it's a good way to approach something instead of being in their face and starting an argument.
Exactly. With, hey, any women out there like their toes sucked?
Because isn't it about foot conversation?
Yeah, all about feet.
So that should be able to be brought up.
Right, and it's something that barefooters do face. Right. There are some that are appalled.
It's like nudists. If you're coming to a nudist colony and you get a hard on, hey, you're going to see naked women. You're going to get a hard on. It's going to happen.
It's a natural thing.
It's a natural thing, right?
You can't suppress it, and so
people when they're talking about feet, some of them obviously may have a foot fetish too.
Absolutely, and
doesn't mean they're perverts.
And somebody actually brought that up at one point,
right?
But anyway, so I put this post up, and so like the next day, I get up and I don't see any responses. And I said, "Well, that's strange. I wonder why." And I was like, you'd think somebody would have at least liked it or commented on it or something.
Right.
So then I go look at my groups, and I don't see it in my list of groups. And I said, son of a bitch, somebody got an ass hurt by it.
Wow, they yanked you?
They took me out of the group. So then I tried to search for it, thinking, okay, well, they took me out of the group.
Blocked you, didn't they?
They blocked me, yes. So I said, oh, this is some bullshit. So there's actually one guy from the group that I've actually made friends with, and he's now on my friends list.
Right.
And so I write him. I said, hey, man, I told him the story of what happened. And he goes, well, I'll write, one of the admins to see what happened. Because I guess he knew who the admin guy was.
Right.
So I hadn't heard anything. Nobody had gotten back to me. Meanwhile, I actually, and there is another Society for Barefoot Living, like a listserv, like an email list.
Right.
So I emailed them because a lot of those people are also on the Facebook group. So I explained that when I contacted them, what happened to me in the Facebook group. So the guy wrote me back. He was familiar with my posts, not with that particular one. He hadn't seen that one, but he said, I've enjoyed a lot of the other posts you put up. I don't understand, what's going on. He's like, he goes, there's not much I can do, but I'll give you the names of the admins of that group.
Right.
So he gave me 3 names, and, so I searched for them on Facebook. Actually found the one guy and wrote him. And so finally I said, you know what? I'm not getting anything from these fucking people. So let me, since I have another page, let me search for them, join the group, and then grind the axe that way. So that's what
you don't want to leave it alone.
Yeah, you know me.
I know.
So I found the group, sent them a group join request. They added me. And that's when I went in there and I posted and I said, well, and I explained, how I had been blocked and all I wanted to do is I just posed a question. And you won't believe how many, and you know what? It's funny. The women weren't bad with it. The women actually, there were some that kind of responded like, well, like one girl said something about, well, personally, I love my feet, but I think other feet are gross. And my husband needs to wash his feet real good if he wants me to rub them. So the women didn't really have a problem it was a lot of these men, and two especially, that I think these two guys should have been pounding each other in the ass if they already don't.
Okay.
Because, they were backing each other up, and the one guy was like, thank you for saying what I've been trying to say. And, the one guy said something about, I agree with the moderator. You should have been taken out of this group because you're a fetishist and blah, blah, blah. And we don't want to drag fetish people into this group. And if this is what's going to start happening, then I'm leaving the group. And there was so much of this I'm leaving the group bullshit.
Let's get over themselves. Honestly, they're in there because they've got a foot fetish in one way or another also.
Because they have a foot fetish with their own feet.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a fantasy about feet. Bottom line.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whether obviously it's a fetish in one way or another, or they wouldn't even start a group about it.
Absolutely. And they're so crazy fanatic with it. Well, that's what makes me think, some of these guys, I wonder if they're gay or something.
I mean, it's not like you went in to a place where they talk about children's healings and stuff and said, hey, let me pose a question.
If I put my penis in your child's
how many
face,
kids like, how many men here or women like kids, and look at them in a sexual, I can understand that.
Yeah.
That's not what you did.
No, not at all. And I was trying to explain myself, I said, look, I just said I'm not a fetishist, even if I do have a foot fetish, I never bother the women on the group. I never post sexual questions. You know what I'm saying? I just read posts and sometimes post myself. Because there is some good medical things that they post in there, right, about taking care of your feet and, that type of, especially me with the whole circulation thing. It's,
right,
you learn some shit. So,
they get this like a protective mode.
Holier than thou.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's like, oh, well, you're going to talk about sex and feet or some fantasy you may have about feet. Yet we will do that in our own strange way. But if you come out in another way and say it, you're gone.
Exactly. Yeah. And the fact that I was blocked without a warning pissed me off. It's one thing if, you wrote me, one of the moderators would have written me and said, hey, listen, those kind of posts really aren't appropriate.
But see, I was right though, wasn't I? I told you.
Yeah.
If they thought you were a sheep and, a wolf in sheep's clothing, you would be gone.
They wig the fuck out.
Yep.
Well, once I explained myself, then, and as a matter of fact, I found another group in the process. I think it's different. Instead of Society for Barefoot Living, it's Barefoot Society or something like that, or Living Barefooted or something like that. So I joined that group, and I posted about my experience in the Society for Barefoot Living group. And a lot of them were actually backing me. I had a few people that actually said, yeah, I was removed from the group too for no apparent reason.
So apparently they all grouped together after that. Something similar to what they were doing there, but they're allowing a little more freedom of speech.
Yeah, well, even one guy was making a joke. And he's like, hell, he was like, I like feet. And he's like, there's some women that do really have some nice feet. Well, and he's like, so what does that make me a fetishist? Maybe so. You know?
And that's the whole thing. I mean, aren't they there for that specific reason?
Sure, to discuss the feet.
So if you were discussing something like that, because it's not like wearing shoes is like, oh, okay, what they're talking about makes it a fetish in a way. Yeah. I mean, because they are picking one set body part that they are adorning pretty much.
They never speak about the hands or their chests.
So obviously they've got to hang up one way or another with the foot also, and it being barefooted and walking around.
Exactly.
So they are doing the holier than thou bullshit.
And it's funny because so many of them bitch about how they're discriminated against, and when they go into stores and restaurants, and how proprietors
because they want to go in without shoes on.
Right, exactly, and they're told you can't be in here.
Well, that is just it's a health issue.
Yeah,
it is a safety issue.
Right.
And it makes sense. It's just like I don't mind the no shirts, no shoes, no service thing, because I don't want some big fat sweaty guy, or for that matter, girl, walking in and sweating all over, reaching over for, say the milk or something in a store, and their armpit hair or armpits are sweating and dripping off. You don't want that.
Right.
So I can understand certain things, just because you like it doesn't mean there's a right for it.
No, and that's it. And they sit there and they bitch about, lobbying for this, and there's even a group called Barefooting Should Be Legal, or Barefooting is Legal.
But it's kind of funny because they're petitioning that people should be allowed to go in stores and do this or do whatever wherever they want, but yet you can't go in and talk about how you like feet.
Right, exactly.
Very, very strange.
Yeah, well, that just shows the double standard bullshit.
They're hypocrites.
Yeah, exactly. Total hypocrite. And it was totally exposed.
Yeah.
And there were some of the comments. I mean, there were a lot of comments, but some of them were like, we don't want to, invite fetishes into our group, and where does it stop?
Their
kick
group
this
is
fucking
their
guy.
group is a fetish.
Exactly, it's a
it's a
fetish.
fantasy that they would like to see happen.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
they're hung up on the foot, and the foot being barefoot.
Right, exactly. It's not like, do
they know what the word fetish means?
They probably should.
They should probably look it up and understand the word fetish.
Yeah. No, it was crazy. So then the moderators, once they realized, and I think that what happened is one of them had a knee-jerk reaction, saw the word foot fetish, and went, and right away, let's block this fucking guy.
Or keep in mind, maybe the administrator or whatever, maybe it's keep all the tootsies to myself. They don't want somebody else in there going after. Yeah.
And it's very possible.
Yeah.
Well, there's one girl from the other group that I got into, the new group, the Barefoot Living Society or Barefoot Living, whatever.
Right.
And she said she got banned from that other group for posting pictures of her feet. And they
so
thought
they're opposed to feet pictures.
Yeah, because they thought that she's trying to turn men on with her feet.
So they turned this barefoot thing into this high society of we are better than everybody else sort of thing.
Yep, they sure the fuck
Wow.
have.
So just anybody. So shouldn't they be happy with the people that come in and adorn feet or love feet in any way they are, as long as they're barefoot in that?
Right. And
Now,
the
if you
fact
went in
people
and said,
love it.
"Man, I want a nut on your fucking
That's disrespectful.
toes or something," right?
Yeah.
You didn't say that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So you weren't being a pervert. You weren't being disgusting in any way, shape, or form.
Right. Not at all. Not at all. I was very respectful. All I said was, let's go there.
What's wrong with opening a forum about that then?
Exactly. That's it. Even somebody was like, well, why don't you join a fetish group then if that's what you're into and blah, blah, blah.
I did. That's what you guys are doing. You have your own fetish thing going on
It
here.
is a fetish.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's total fetish with your own feet.
Yeah. Yes.
So obviously you guys get off on your own feet.
There are people that do things to their body parts that to be considered a fetish. That's what they do. They idolize that. They love that. That's a fetish to them.
Exactly. Well, it's like having a group. What if we had a group about guys who like to pull their dicks out?
Yeah.
I was sitting in my living room with my dick out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, somebody...
And there are men that do that. That is not a bullshit. That's true.
Right, and there is somebody... What are you going to do? A gay man gets turned on and, you faggot, get out of here. You're not supposed to love the fact I pulled my dick out in public. Well, you know what?
Right.
You pulled it out in public, motherfucker.
What did you think was anything? There's people that are armpit lickers.
Yeah. Anything can be sexual.
Anything can be sexual. You can make anything sexual.
Exactly. I have the thing with the oral fixation and the smoking.
I mean, you've got a car. It's got a gear shift. It can turn sexual if a girl wants to fuck the thing.
Right.
So
exactly.
no
when
matter
ban
what
the car
you
now?
have, right, yeah. So now ban all car gears and stick shifts and wow.
Yeah. So that holier than thou shit, and I did have an issue a few weeks back. I think I told you where I was talking.
But you're welcome.
Oh, I am?
You're welcome for being so right again.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Remember I told you? I said, you come out one time and mention that, and they're going to ban your ass.
Well, and I knew that. I mean, I knew. But I thought maybe there'd be a little discussion. I didn't think that there would just be no, get this fucking guy out of here.
Because they want to make it look like they're better than everybody else, and none of them have that, which all secretly they are. They're like the rich... that like to see bad things happen to people but pretend they don't.
Right. Well, it's like the Charles Manson attitude, like you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Maybe because, like I said, the women had no problem with me. Mm-hmm. A lot of the women actually liked the post. One actually friended me. So, the women didn't say anything nasty, and I thought they would be the one giving the most resistance, but actually it was more of the men.
Well, maybe the men were trying to keep all the tootsies to themselves.
That's what I'm thinking.
Or keep that fantasy going. They didn't want you bringing it out.
No.
Bottom line, they wanted to keep that fantasy going. They're jacking off to this shit later,
right?
Pretending like they're not.
Yeah, exactly. So, and every time a chick posts about her feet, that there's a guy in there going,
well, sure.
You
mean, what kind of screening do they do? I mean, where do
Nothing.
they go?
I mean, I send you a friend
So you mean to
request
tell me there's no fetish people in there?
Oh, yeah.
That are laying low and pretending?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you going to do? Some guy's jacking off and not posting. This guy hasn't posted for a while. Let's remove him from the group.
As long as you don't mention you have a foot fetish while you're in here about feet.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same stupid shit as when you go to the smoke shops, and if you say bong, they kick you out, and you got to say water pipe.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, watch your wording because that'll get you in trouble.
Obviously. So, but anyway.
We all like to pretend.
the moderators did when they all saw my point. They said, you know what? And the one guy I was messaging with said, you know, I'm really sorry this happened to you. You know, if you go and we've removed the block. If you go and send another join request, we'll add you right away. So they did, and everything is cool for now. But I'm just waiting for the next asshole. I was just starting to tell you there was something a few weeks ago where Loon had put up something about how she was getting blisters on her feet from working out.
Right, I remember that.
And she was wearing socks. And she said, were there any suggestions? And I said, well, what about doing it barefooted? And she said, I'm on a treadmill. That's impossible.
Right.
So then there were these shoes that I remember seeing mentioned in the group.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted about it. I said, hey, somebody in here was talking about some shoes that make you feel like you are barefooted.
Right.
What are they called? So then, a few people had told me. Well, then, of course, there was this one self-righteous fuck who decides to get in there, and he goes, this group is about barefooting. We're not here to talk about shoes. If you want to find out about shoes,
so
go to
right
another
there,
group.
right there, he was offended because you were taking away his fantasy.
Yeah, his Jackham's fantasy.
Yeah, exactly right. So that's a fetish.
Yeah. So you know what? These guys are fucking hypocrites, a lot of them.
Uh-huh.
It's just funny to me, man. And it's sad when you see it because you go, shit, it is true.
Mm-hmm.
So once again,
you're welcome for opening your eyes to that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And thank you for
Getting you kicked out?
Well, no, I mean, because it's a good question.
Right.
And I want to see where people's heads are at. I didn't think they'd overreact the way they did.
And they did.
I mean, I thought maybe I'd get a few, we're fucked up or something messages or something. But goddamn, getting banned and blocked and fucking
instantly for asking the question.
But they put me back in once everybody sees where I was going because I said, look, this is a problem you face as barefooters.
But see, the whole thing is that they're that quick to jump. What else is next?
Well, that's it. Any little thing.
Anything, right.
And I even made a joke today when I was re-added. I said, well, I'm back in this group, everybody. I just hope I don't have to walk on eggshells in here. And of course,
in your bare feet?
Yeah. Well, this one guy actually, he posted, he was like the pun. We were playing the pun game for a while. He goes, walking on eggshells. Did you catch the pun? And I said, oh, you got a lot of soul. And, so we're going back and forth and fucking around with the puns and shit. So, man, that's... My thing is, like I said, I don't mean to offend anybody in there. That's not my thing.
No, you are enjoying the fantasy like they are.
Right, exactly.
Your own way. Does it matter what way the fantasy is?
No.
What makes your fantasy any worse than theirs?
Right. They can have their jackums as they see fit, so why can't I have mine?
As long as you weren't being atrocious or perverted or anything, which you weren't being from what you told us.
Oh, yeah. No, and some people were even calling me a troll in the group. Oh, get this fucking troll
I hate
out
when they
here.
do that. Everybody's a fucking troll.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You're a troll.
It's easy to demonize. You're a troll. No. You mean because I'm speaking something that you don't want to hear that makes me a troll? No. That makes you a fucking hypocrite, ass munch.
Yep, exactly. Well, this is the thing where I was talking about, I don't know if you saw my other post about cyberbullying, which I find to be a little bullshitty because I think, when I hear people getting cyberbullied, I think it's somebody who opened up their fucking mouth, got their ass handed to them online, and now they're claiming they're cyberbullied.
No, that's not always true. I mean, there are people that just do it. They're just assholes out there.
Well, and you remember last year I had a situation in another group that I was in, remember?
Yeah.
And I posted something and a guy right away was like, nobody wants to hear your shit, fuck you, blah, 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 blah. And then him and I got into it and whatever. Mm-hmm. And these were teenagers. So, yes, I understand that part of it.
Yeah, you can be bullied.
But there's another part, I think, where some people are using, it's like anything, like rape.
Yeah, there's different, different kinds of stories to different,
aspects
of everything, right?
Sure. But this is just one aspect. It's like, yes, there is a such thing as rape, but not every woman gets raped. Some use it as a weapon to get back at guys.
And I know of one that did that. I know for a fact they did that.
Right. You had a story you told me at one point.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Cyberbullying. Now people are just screaming it. When they didn't get their way in a cyber life.
People will jump on a bandwagon and they will jump on it and they will defend it no matter what, whether it's right or wrong, because it's the newest, trendiest thing to jump on and say, oh, this is what all women should be, every woman that's been raped should be, and that is true. Every woman that has truly been raped, right.
Yes.
They should have their day in court for that person that they did it.
Absolutely. Justice
but
at
the same time, not every woman that screamed it has said the truth and told the truth.
Absolutely.
So you don't demonize a man or a woman, for that matter, just because someone instantly said that. Let the facts speak for themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's it. I'm sure some people would consider me a cyber bully.
You are.
Because I've had some issues with people online.
You are a cyber bully.
I'm not a cyber bully. I just don't take any cyber bullshit.
You're a cyber punk ass is what you are. I see your posts.
I don't take any cyber bullshit. That's all.
I know. I was laughing though when you said, "I'll use your technology and I'll beat you down, you homo fucking bullshit." I was like, "Damn, look at Wiki Boy go."
That's what it was, because here it was. They were ducking and dodging me, not trying to address my questions. So I'm like, "All right, motherfucker."
It was funny because I was reading at the Humvee today, and we're both kind of laughing. I said, "Look, he's going off again."
Oh yeah. Well, there's always something, that triggers me. So you figured I'd probably have something to talk about here.
I knew when I saw those two things fly by. I thought they may have been related, but I wasn't sure.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, the thing is, I don't like the ducking and dodging. With technology now, people can just duck and dodge you and never have to address you.
Right.
And that's what I have a problem with. Be a fucking man. If you fucked up,
or a woman,
well, be a fucking adult.
Right.
And it'd be like, okay, we fucked up. We're sorry. We deleted you accidentally. We had a knee-jerk reaction. Instead, we're just going to duck and dodge you.
It's not over.
No?
They're the same kind of people.
Well, there'll probably be some other shit.
They're going to nail you with something else. Exactly right.
They'll find something.
They're righteous. So no matter what you're going to do, sooner or later you're going to be no damn good for them.
Yeah. Well, and there's going to be some self-righteous son of a bitch that I'm probably going to wind up.
And it's probably the guy that started the goddamn thing.
Oh, it probably is.
More than likely, they wanted to come in and get their control because they're control freaks.
Because I'm the moderator.
And in the real world, they've got El Ducko Shito.
Yeah.
So this is what makes them feel like big man Tommy boy standing on top the fucking hill, kicking down the little peasant boys that try to climb up and join his club.
Absolutely. Hey,
and that's
you
exactly
can't be in my
what
Ghostbuster
it is.
club.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you're going to have that, so you don't count on it being a happy go. You're going to get booted the fuck out again, trust me.
Yeah, well,
Unless you abide by every little rule that they throw your way, and you're not that kind of guy.
Well, that's it. I even with this one, I thought I was abiding by the rule. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what I'm saying. So even thinking that you were, you
still get balled.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you didn't say what he wanted you to say.
Absolutely, and you never know what they're going to want you to say, so it's just going to be like you post and whatever.
That's like some service I use when they put up and anything we deem to be offensive. That leaves the gates wide the fuck open, doesn't it?
Sure, because you could think anything's offensive.
Yeah, I could say the word the.
Yeah.
Hey, the is offensive because people that have their heads cut off or their penis,
or the fact you just coughed, they might find offensive.
Yeah, because you know what? That shows a sign of weakness, and we don't want nobody weak or anything can be found offensive.
Sure. That's the problem. It's left up to too much interpretation.
Exactly right.
There's no guideline per se. They try to make the guideline, but then some.
Let's make it as we go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because then we can bend it any way we damn well please.
I'll just make it to fit me and my fucked up agenda, and that's kind of what I've found with the open-minded shit too. When people claim to be so open-minded, usually they're saying that because they're trying to bend some shit to their fucked up agenda.
And I'll be honest, I'm open-minded to a point as long as it makes sense to me.
That's
the minute it no longer makes sense, I'm no longer open-minded about it.
That's what I'm saying. That's where that didn't make sense.
Then I'll start questioning and start saying, hey, look, there's something wrong here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm like that with pretty much anything, relationships, business, anything like that. I try to remain open-minded, I'll try to look at the other side, but don't pump bullshit in me. If you want me to understand what you're saying or go along with it, then give me some reasonable shit to understand, and then I will be open-minded and listen.
Although I'll say the one thing that I'm not open-minded about,
what's that?
Is MLMs. As soon as I hear any MLMery, right away my mind shuts off. It doesn't matter what you tell me. I'm like, no good, fucking MLM.
Wow. I mean, for the most part, you are pretty open-minded. I mean, who else would go to a Red Lobster with a man that didn't even really know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm very open-minded. And you're open-cheeked because you give a man a show. Anyway, bitches, I'm Maxwell Silverhammer.
I'm GJ Open to the Mind Max Jerkman.
And that's the story there, bitches. See ya.
Show.